For the next session today, we have Saravana Kumar, CEO of Kovai.co and a well-known Microsoft Azure MVP in the community. In today's session, BizTalk360, the present, the past, and the future, he will give you the latest updates of BizTalk360 and what you can expect in the near future.
Okay, thanks, Mohan. Let me get started. Thanks for the intro, by the way. Okay, just a quick introduction about myself. I've done this in the opening keynote on the first day. Just for those of you who missed out, okay, my name is Saravana Kumar, and I'm the CEO of Kovai.co. We actually rebranded to Kovai.co only last year, so we are well known in the community before as BizTalk360. But over the years, we have added more and more products into the portfolio. As you all know, like we have Serverless 360 and Atomic Scope now. So it makes sense for us to have an umbrella brand for the company, and hence we did a complete rebranding last year to Kovai.co. So BizTalk360 itself was founded back in 2011. So it's, the time just goes very, very quickly. It's almost 10 years now. And the intention was, when I started the product, it was just like more like a hobby project, which I'll cover some of the stories behind, like how we got originated. And it's it's 9 years completed now. And I'm also, is a hardcore technical person. So, I still write code. I own certain parts of the core architecture of the product. And for all the new products, I'm pretty much hands-on. I still hold the Microsoft MVP title since 2007. So this picture was actually taken back in 2012. So that's why I just kept the entire Facebook update. You can see it's taken in the Microsoft Victoria office in London on the first anniversary of BizTalk360. So I know, as a part of the agenda, I just wanted to keep it really simple. So 10 years is a long period. So I just wanted to cover up, what we have done in the last 10 years. Of course, I can't do everything in this 30 minutes session. I'll just come up with some of the important things and some of the new features, what we have released. And the biggest question, what we need to answer ourselves is what's going to be the next for BizTalk360. Okay, 10 years gone, what are we looking at for the next 10 years? And what are the steps we are taking to make BizTalk360 even better for the BizTalk Server customers? Okay, what is the origin story? Okay, just to give a background of what BizTalk360 is, it's basically like a web-based management monitoring solution for BizTalk Server. So this picture was actually taken back in 2010 MVP Summit, and this is exactly where everything started. So we were actually having a casual conversation in Redmond, and all of these folks were hardcore BizTalk people for many years. So including myself, like at that point in time, I had like 10 years of working in BizTalk Server. So my first project in BizTalk was back in 2000. And since then, like I've worked on many mission critical applications for 10 years, consulting for various companies. And one of the conversations that came during the drinks is, why we don't have like a really good management monitoring story for a BizTalk Server. Because Microsoft stopped investing on anything serious, mainly on the management side, since 2006 or 2. That was the last time they provided that's when the admin console came into existence. And since then, they've only made incremental updates like fixing bits and pieces and whatever required to support. That's all they have done. But there was no real solution to support a BizTalk environment, and the discussion went along the lines of why don't you open an open source project to support it? And as we all know, it's a lot of commitment required, and once after the drinks, nobody really turned up. But what I've done was I just continued for almost a year. I started building what came as an idea out of the drink session, and started building that the first version of the prototype. And this picture was actually taken in the following year, 2011 MVP Summit. And the people in this picture are actually the BizTalk product group people who are actually building BizTalk servers. So I think people who are in the BizTalk ecosystem for a long time could recognize This is Guru, one of the PMs of the BizTalk server for a very long time, and a couple of people from the dev people. And I demonstrated what I've built in a year's time. And the first comment I received from Guru was, there's no way we would have built something what you've done, because you are building something from 10 years of experience using the product. And we as a product group, we will not know the challenges what the real world people are facing, and it's difficult to match. And this is exactly, I was showing around this product to multiple different MVPs and some of the other community members, and they have received a lot of good feedback. This is around February 2011, and I came back and then I spent further for 4 months polishing and building the product, and the product was actually launched around May June 2011. And this is this is how it all got started. So if you look at it, Microsoft BizTalk Server has been around for 20 years. So it's a really long legacy product. I think those of you who attended Stephen Thomas' session would have understood, we come from an era where we did our first orchestration using Visio. Microsoft Visio is the orchestration designer when the first version of BizTalk Server was announced. So the product has been there 20 years. And if you look at the context, BizTalk360 has been around for nearly 10 years now. So it's it's nearly 50% of the life of BizTalk Server. We existed, and we continuously evolved, and we built the features that's required to support the BizTalk Server customers in the last 9+ years. So I know there are a lot of new people attending this session, because every year, there are repeat customers for the Integrate, and also there are a lot of new people who join Integrate. I just want to give a quick overview of for people who are not familiar with what is BizTalk360. What am I talking about? So in a nutshell, BizTalk360 is actually a value-added product for Microsoft BizTalk Server. So as I mentioned, BizTalk Server, out of the box, it comes with a limited management tools. So BizTalk Admin Console is the only tool, and you need to use a bunch of other tools. There's no web-based access. For monitoring, you need to use third-party products like SCOM or other products to monitor. Even those products are not fully mature enough to address the BizTalk Server graph. And finally, on the analytics, if you look at it, a lot of times BizTalk being a middleware product sitting in the middle, no one understands really, what's exactly going on in the platform. And that's the third thing what we address with the analytics side. So at the top level, you have the operations capabilities, monitoring capabilities, and analytics capabilities to make your BizTalk Server day-to-day operations much more smoother and nicer. That's in nutshell what BizTalk360 does. I just wanted to highlight some of the key features. Of course, we can't go through like a product demo of going through each and every part of BizTalk360. It's a pretty mature product, but I wanted to highlight some of the core things, problems what we're trying to address. So the number one problem what we wanted to address is to provide a really good productivity tool to manage and operate your BizTalk environments. If you look at the situation now, if you don't have BizTalk360, the way you manage and monitor your BizTalk environment is by using at least, like 7 to 10 different tools. So some of the common tools, of course, you need to have BizTalk Admin Console. That is not good enough. You typically will have access. You need to have access to SQL Management Studio. And if you're using business activity monitoring, you need to have access to BAM portal. If you're using ESB, then you need to have access to the ESB portal. And when you're trying to diagnose some problems, you typically need to have access to all those event viewers in all those servers, including your BizTalk server, SQL server, IAS, etc. And finally, if you're doing some performance monitoring or performance tuning, you need to have access to all these perf bonds, and you need to configure them, all of them. So it's a really, it's not a really good, pleasant experience operating on your BizTalk environment on a day-to-day basis. And that's exactly the problem what we addressed using BizTalk360. It's a single management monitoring solution. It's a web-based interface. You can manage and monitor multiple environments. You can manage your production, staging, everything from a single environment, and you don't need to switch between anything. So it's all consolidated into a single application. This is one of the core value proposition of why you need BizTalk360. And top of that, we provide some of the capabilities like user access and security policies. So what you see on the left-hand side here is basically, the standard BizTalk admin console. The challenge what we have seen in using a BizTalk admin console, it basically got access to everything. There is no notion of, application level security. You can't have restrict users to access only certain parts of the admin console. It's basically all or nothing. So once you give somebody access to the BizTalk admin console, they're going to see pretty much everything that's running on your environment. And also, if you look at it, I'm sure a lot of you are experienced BizTalk people here. Setting up a BizTalk environment is quite an expensive operation. So if you look at, if you have 4 BizTalk servers and 2 SQL servers, and if you consolidate all the licensing cost of, your BizTalk licenses, SQL licenses, and Windows licenses, you're talking about, at least $100,000 investment to run your applications. Typically, the large enterprises, they'll have a centralized BizTalk middleware platform, and everybody uses it to across multiple applications. So here, if you might using BizTalk 360, you will be able to provide John from HR access only to HR applications, and Claire to have access only to the finance applications. So it comes with a really sophisticated user access mechanism. It also comes with advanced security as well. For example, you might not want to give people access to everything in your environment. You may want to restrict them to only the message box data. You probably do not want them to access host instances and other parts of your system. So it comes with a very granular control of what level of access you can give, and everything is audited. So people, if they do things like start a host instance, stop a host instance, restart an application, suspend an orchestration, everything gets audited, which is completely missing on the BizTalk admin console. And then being an enterprise product, you understand, why you need auditing capabilities. And given a shared environment where a lot of people are using your platform, it becomes very critical to have a complete audit history. And this is the bunch of, the other tools what we have built from the ground up in BizTalk 360. So, the ESB manager, for example, the ESB portal, what people use, it's not even supported by Microsoft. Actually, it has come as a sample application in your ESB framework. The ESB framework itself is fully supported, and it's a hardcore framework, but the ESB portal is just a sample application. So we have completely built a ESB portal inside BizTalk 360. Similar way, EDI manager. We have specialized screens and management capabilities if your people are using EDI capabilities of BizTalk 360. And we enhance with tooling like throttling analyzer. If there is a throttling condition in your environment, if you wanted to diagnose it right now, you need to have really expert knowledge. You need to know which counters to monitor, how to read those counters, understand what is a good value or a bad value, and there is no graphical representation. So we built a tooling to help you understand whether your BizTalk environment is working correctly or under throttling condition. And we have something called advanced event viewer, because when you're working in a BizTalk environment, it's typically, it's a multi-server environment. You want to have a centralized access to all of your event viewers across all the servers from a central place. So we provide, as part of BizTalk 360, a centralized event viewer that helps you to visualize and query all your event viewer data from a single place. And Rules Composer is another big tooling that comes out of BizTalk 360. It's a complete web-based rules composer. So BizTalk 360 doesn't come with any web-based rules composer. So here we even enhanced it with a kind of rules, like maybe, for example, there is a Christmas, and you need to roll out a rule dynamically on that day. If you want to do it with the standard tooling that comes out of BizTalk Server, you need to include dev, and there must be a change management process in place, and it's a time-consuming operation. But with the rules composer within BizTalk 360, you can publish the rule on the fly, right, just from the web console. So these are just a few set of examples I've given, because the product comes with the idea is to have like a really deep tooling so that it makes life easy for your BizTalk Server day-to-day usage. So I want to show you a quick demo. I'm sure just showing it on in the slides is not good enough. So I'm just going to take a very quick look for people who have never seen before. This is BizTalk 360. It's actually running in one of our Azure VMs, and hence it's saying not secure. It's not HTTPS, but you can install, once you install it on your local environment, you get a much better, it's fully secured and it's on premise. So this is the, the dashboard. It's a fully customizable. You can, add a lot of widgets. If we ship, like pretty much every widget you can, turn on and off. And you can even, customize the widget, like, you can move things around, and, you can have like a complete operation dashboard for your BizTalk environment. And as I mentioned, like all these tools, you have rules composer, and you have data access, and you can see the message box data right inside the web application. You can access the event viewers across all of your BizTalk servers from a central location. And you have infrastructure settings, like, accessing the host instances, the message boxes. The tracking manager is a really good example. It gives you like a simple view of how much tracking you have enabled on your environment. You can do like, health checks tools, like, the backup DR visualizer, whether your backup is working well or not. So there's a lot of things, like just, it's difficult to show everything in this 30 minutes. So this is just to give an idea of, the depth of the product, how much has been covered in BizTalk 360 in the last 10 years. So going back to the slide, so another key capability of BizTalk 360 is the monitoring aspect. It's actually, it comes with a really extensive monitoring, not just your BizTalk environment, because BizTalk being a middleware, it's always, connected to various systems, right? It's not just your health of your BizTalk environment. You need to make sure all your systems, the connected systems, are also running up and running. So we covered everything within BizTalk 360. You can, in addition to your standard BizTalk monitoring things like your applications and send ports, receive locations, host instances, you can also monitor things like the health of your SQL Server and SQL jobs and MSMQ. And if you're using IBM MQ, you can monitor the health of IBM MQ. And we have, monitoring for your throttling conditions. And we can also monitor if you're using a lot of APIs to connect your in your middleware platform. You can also do the web endpoints monitoring and make sure all those external APIs are up and running. So if you're using FTP or SFTP and those kind of external locations, you can also monitor whether those things are also, working fine, or if it's a down, all those kind of things. Pretty much it comes with, complete extensive monitoring of your BizTalk environment. And it's also, the bottom line is, it's 100% BizTalk server focused. And this comes out of our, 20 years experience on the field and understanding what is required for your BizTalk monitoring. And that's what we cover, end to end in BizTalk 360. In fact, we can confidently say there is no other product in the market currently, supporting 100% BizTalk server monitoring. So, in 10 years time, and we had few competitors here and there, but most of them, they came and they're gone basically. There are various reasons. One, it's like there is uncertainty of what's going to happen to BizTalk, so people didn't stick around. And the other thing is BizTalk server requires this. It's a serious level of technical expertise to make the product, the development of a product like BizTalk 360. So those are the two reasons I can see, like, why people didn't stick around and they moved on, like a lot of competitors. So today, if you are a BizTalk server customer, BizTalk 360 is the only option available for you to give this end-to-end operations and monitoring and analytics capability. And we also support, working nicely with other enterprise monitoring stack as well. Because a lot of companies, they do not, they will have enterprise-wide solution like ServiceNow, AppDynamics, or Dynatrace, or New Relic, etc. But the problem with these tools are they don't have any coverage for BizTalk server. They have coverage for all other platforms across the board. So what a lot of our customers have done is, when they're using these tools, they use BizTalk 360 to do BizTalk server monitoring, and then they connected it to ServiceNow. And we have first-party proper integration with all these tools, so that you don't miss out on anything. So this is 10 years of innovation. This is a slide that I took right from our release notes. You can see we released 4 or 5 releases, a couple of releases this year. And our release cycle is, like roughly 4 to 5 releases per year. And we consistently delivered this for the last 9 years. And every release will have at least, 2 to 3 features, and a lot of inputs we receive from our existing customers and, for our own research. And we keep on, adding more and more features into the product. So if you look at it, like Microsoft kind of, since all this cloud focus and moving to the cloud and Azure, they reduced their focus everywhere in all of their on-premise products, not just BizTalk, including SQL Server and SharePoint and everything. So what we have done is, we've taken the responsibility of filling in all the gaps for the BizTalk Server customers, because there are still a lot of customers out there. Like I worked as a consultant for 10 years on BizTalk implementing solutions, and there are some really mission critical things that are running in BizTalk Server. And when it comes to on-premise story, still BizTalk is strong, and Microsoft is still releasing. You can see 2020 is just released this year, and there are plans to roll out more. They'll go more in the cloud native and hybrid kind of focus in the future. But BizTalk is going to be there for a long time. So we have taken that responsibility of filling that gap and providing value to those BizTalk Server customers to operate and run their BizTalk environments in a really good way. And today, it become more of a standard now. If anybody using BizTalk Server customers, they are using BizTalk 360 because it's a nice add-on. Because if you invest like $100,000 worth of just infrastructure investment, plus all your application development and all those things, it becomes a kind of a no-brainer for you to have a BizTalk 360 on top of your BizTalk Server environment. So today, we have over 600 large enterprises using BizTalk 360, and we are very proud to say, Microsoft runs a lot of their internal processes using BizTalk Server, and they are using one of our biggest customers for BizTalk 360. They use it across the board. They for a very long time. I think they've been with us for like more than 5 years now, and they continue to use BizTalk 360. Okay, so now in the last few minutes, I just wanted to cover. Okay, this is all what we have now, and the positioning of BizTalk 360. Okay, what are we going to do now? Because 10 years is a long period, and you think the product will get mature and you'll stop development, but that's not the reality. We still get a lot of requests today. I'll show you a screenshot of where we maintain the user voice and feedback and how many requests are still pending. I just want to go quickly show you like what we are doing now to protect BizTalk 360 for the future. One of the biggest project what we have started doing. We started this project in last quarter of 2019, and we estimated it to take about a year for us to complete. So we are rewriting the entire user interface in a new way. Basically, we are doing it from scratch. Okay, all the backend APIs are pretty solid and pretty mature, and they're all written in .NET and C# and web APIs and standards like SOAP and REST. So we are not expecting any changes to be there on the backend side of things. But the front end is actually, if you look at 10 years, it's a long period for a front end technology. In fact, we started off initially with the Silverlight for the first 2 to 3 years, and we have done a major rewrite in around, I think, 2014, 2015. We moved everything to HTML5 when Microsoft retired Silverlight. And after that, we did one more rewrite, I think 2017 or something. It's not complete rewrite, but we enhanced it significantly. But the challenge is, the web is a really, dynamically changing environment. There are a lot of new frameworks, and all those old libraries and frameworks are not supported. So this is our current stack, mainly Durandal and Knockout, and that's been around for a lot of time. But given, we definitely see the life of BizTalk 360 for at least another 10-15 years. Because given the experience and the customer base what we are having, a lot of customers we need to support it. So we are doing a complete rewrite of the UI stack. Okay, this is on the technical side, right? Okay, maybe it doesn't matter for a lot of our customers what we are using underneath, apart from giving them the assurance the platform is not going to die, and we are investing to move on to the new platform. As part of this complete rewrite, one of the things what we are doing is a complete modernization of the user interface. Of course, over a 10-year period, when you have, when you put a lot of things into the product, it gets a bit tired, and like a lot of things, it looks like a patch, and then it reached a point where we thought it's a time to rewrite the entire user interface. We got a lot of feedback, for example, how an alarm should be configured on the monitoring side, how a data monitoring a screenshot should look like. We didn't find the right opportunity to do it in the past, but now given we are rewriting the entire user interface, it felt it's the right time to modernize the user interface as well. I would like to show a quick demo. This is not fully ready, as I mentioned. We are expecting it to be released around October, November timeframe. I just want to show you the screen design and what we are working on. So this is going to be the new modern UI. So it's a screen designs from our designers. So the home screen will have all your environments. So you have production, staging, QA, and you can create environment. If you have like 10 different environments, you can configure all of them. So when the user logs into the system, this is what they see. And you can get into one of those environments, and you can see we refresh the user interface everywhere. So we polished it, we brought it a bit more modern, we changed the navigation style. We are working on pretty much every single screen is going to be rewritten. So there will be new icon sets, and new lists and new tables, and everything we are rewriting basically. So it's a massive undertaking, but we thought it's essential. It's not something nice. Rather, it's becoming more essential for us to keep the product live for next 10-15 years. So you can go to message box, and it's a change. And when you look at the monitoring side, you can see it's a very clean interfaces and nice designs to give you like a very good a user experience when you're using the product. And the analytics side, we cleaned up, because the more modern approach is basically keeping it lighter and very easy to use, and that's exactly what we are doing. So we are hoping this version, the new version, which is called version 10 of BizTalk 360, will be due for release around October, November timeframe. Okay, going back to the deck, I just want to wrap up. Got a couple of minutes, so I'll just wrap up with a few points. So I mentioned, continued innovation. It's not that you reached a peak of a product and we don't know exactly what to do. This is actually our live user voice forum. I took a screenshot this morning, and you can see, the BizTalk operations. There are about 260 pending ideas from our customers, because a lot of little things is, BizTalk itself is a massive product, and there are a lot of areas where we can improve, and we get a lot of feedback, and we will pick up. Of course, we are not going to do each and everything what the user is asking for, but whatever we think is appropriate, we will add it to the product. So we just wanted to make it, BizTalk 360 more and more stronger. Okay, and the other, there's also this important reason we need to see, why it's getting more critical for investing in a tool like BizTalk 360, because this is natural now, right? Because a number of people getting trained in BizTalk is reducing day by day, because the modern millennial developer community is interested in quick wins. They wanted to do something, go to a Azure portal and figure out logic apps, and find out how to connect systems together, and then they wanted to have quick wins. But something like BizTalk requires a significant investment. You need like every BizTalk developer who are experienced, it would have taken them at least 12 to 18 months to get a grip of the product. So when you're losing, the trained resources, you need to compensate that by tools, right? So tools are there to be, jobs to be done. So if you don't have people resources to do it, then you need to compensate that with the tools with like BizTalk 360. So that's exactly what we're trying to do with BizTalk 360, so that you don't need to have like experienced BizTalk Server people to manage your environment. Rather, you can have like people who are from a .NET background or a general Microsoft background, and allow them to use BizTalk Server for at least from a support and operations point of view in a seamless way. I think I just want to close it off with, if you are a BizTalk Server customer today, and you really need to look at using BizTalk360. Okay, it's my timer. I think it's a time up. So I think, we have with the 10 years of investment, what we have done, you will get 100% ROI back by using BizTalk360. It's basically maximizing your investment on your BizTalk server. And I think that's all. I think I timed it well, I guess. And if you have any questions, or if you want to take a look, you all know where BizTalk360 is. Please take a look at the website. And if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer. I'm going to get into the Q&A side, and I'll answer if there are any questions. Okay, Mohan, how much time do we have?
Saravana, the next session starts in 4 minutes.
Okay. Okay, there is one question I want to answer from Manju. Okay. One of the things I didn't. The question is, if you have both on-premise and Azure, what is the best monitoring solution? We have coverage for Azure resources as well within BizTalk360, which I didn't cover in the presentation. We know, it's a kind of a hybrid model, and people will use things like logic apps and web jobs and APIs and things like that. You can manage and monitor them as well within BizTalk360. So you get a full picture of covering both. So one more question from Mohammed. Okay, I probably need a bit more info on that one. Probably I'll come back to that later.
Saravana, you have some questions accepted in the accepted tab.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What about developer test license? We have a QA license. That's a more of a licensing question. We have a production license cost, and then a QA and developer license cost. So it's a reduced price. You don't pay the same price for production. I think the licensing team can help you there. The next question: if a message fails suspended in send mode, are you able to remove from within BizTalk360? You remove in the sense, I think you have the full operational capabilities. Things like you can resume instance, subnet instance, all those things. What you will typically do on the admin console, it's 100% possible with BizTalk360. The only thing is it got the web-based console, and you have auditing on top of it. Okay. Okay, Nico is asking when we can expect the timelines for V10 is around the Q4. So it will be around October, November timeframe is when we are expecting to release the V10 of BizTalk360. Okay, I answered that next question. Will you be able to see the poll result? Okay, that is something different. Okay, there is a question on throttling. Of course, the throttling analyzer, what we have is it help you to solve that problem, because throttling is something not people understand. You need a very deep knowledge about the entire BizTalk architecture to understand whether your environment is under throttling condition, because Microsoft didn't provide any tools. You need to work on raw data like perfmon counter and configuring it, collecting it, and then analyzing it. And there's a tool from the community, Mikhail developed it, called BizTalk Performance Analyzer. You need to mix a lot of things, and all those things you don't need it. BizTalk360 provides a tooling for you to understand your throttling. Okay, App Insight. Right now we don't have any integration. We can look into that. Okay, any other updates before October, November? I think definitely there is we do incremental updates that comes on the site. So that is more on any critical bugs or any high priority items. We are going to continue releasing 9.x versions but until the 10 is released. There are two teams actually working. There's one team working on the current 9.x release, and there's the version 10 team who are isolated, and they've been working for since November, December last year. They've been working on the on the version 10. Okay, I think with that I'm good. I'm going to close it, and if you have any questions, just shoot me an email. You all have my email. You receive so many emails from me. I'm happy to respond back. Thank you very much.
Covey.co